Okay. Bye, Chica. So I've opened it up now so the public can come in, and it's open to YouTube. So it's 3:59. When it hits 4 o'clock, you can start the meeting.
Hello and good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Today is 4 o'clock, July 22nd, and we will go ahead and start our finance our F&A committee, and we will go ahead and start with our roll call, please.
Vice Chair Kick,
Here.
Director Narum,
Here.
Chair Hernandez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And we will move on to item number 3, meeting open to the public. Are there anyone at the public that would like to speak at this time?
I don't see anybody in the public as an attendee for this meeting, and I didn't receive anything via email from the public.
Okay, thank you. So I will go ahead and move to item number 4, minutes of approval for minutes for May 25th, 2021.
I'll move approval of the
I'll
minutes
second.
of the 25th, 2021.
Thank you, and we'll go ahead and receive a roll call, please.
Vice Chair Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes.
Chair Hernandez.
Yes,
Passes unanimously.
and that brings us to item number 5, treasurer's report for May 2021.
Okay, so presented before you is the treasurer's report for May 2021. We still have quite a bit of cash on hand. Keep in mind, the plan is to send at least $5 million back to MTC in September so that we have it available to use for next year's budget. But we want to still keep some money on hand for when that parking garage project starts and we have to pay out bills where we won't get reimbursed for 6 weeks to 2 months. It is $20 million. So we're kind of balancing that, the project plus having the money we need for the budget and having money on hand. So in terms of expenses, we are at 73.47%. So we are coming in under budget, even for the revised lower budget that we brought to the board last year. This is due because even though with COVID, we still assume that school will be going back in session in September. So we are not good with that crystal ball. I'm talking last September. So yeah, so we also initially thought COVID would last 3 weeks. So we're not your people to ask for how pandemics will play out. So we are coming in well under budget, which is great. We'll have even more funds to go back to MTC when the time comes. On the revenue side, because the budget we're using is that lower budget, the revised budget, but the money we requested from MTC was on the original budget, we're actually at 106% on our revenues above the budget. So that should come in actually quite a bit higher than the budget at the end of the year. So we did that just because we didn't know what was going to happen with cash flow and what was actually going to happen, no matter what we assume. So that is what we are looking at. Any questions?
Looking like there's no questions, I'll ask for approval of the treasurer's report for May 2021.
I'll move that we approve treasurer's report.
I'll second it.
May we get a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes.
Chair Hernandez.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
So item number 6, resolution of authorizing investment of Livermore Amador Valley Transit Authority monies in the state of California local agency and investment fund.
Okay, so we have to do this every year. Basically, it's just the board authorizing us to continue investing our funds in LAIF. Unlike the cities, I think most cities have an LAIF account, but they have other ways that they invest their funds. We don't typically, because all of our reserves are supposed to be at MTC, we're not supposed to have them on hand. And we don't have anyone on staff with an expertise in investing anyway. This is the only place we invest our funds. And so we just need the annual board approval to continue doing that.
Okay, and with that, if we can get an approval.
I'll move that we approve item 6.
I'll second it. I do have a question.
Of course.
Tamara, I certainly understand that, the agency can't have or doesn't really have the resources to have somebody on board to invest or, do the investing beyond LAIF. But I was wondering, I know Pleasanton, we have somebody doing that. I suspect, Livermore and maybe Dublin do too. And I was wondering if it's worth a conversation just to see how much additional revenue we could generate if we were to invest in some of the securities and things that I think the cities are doing. And, possibly, I mean, it's in Pleasanton, Livermore, and Dublin's best interest to maximize the revenue for LABDA. Just, and I know that we have certainly helped other agencies, such as mosquito abatement, with areas of expertise. So I just was wondering if that was worth a conversation at all, to see if it's even, if there's even enough gain that it would be something worth exploring.
Sure, it's something we could explore. Are you suggesting that we ask the cities to help us with that, or that we look for a consultant?
Well, my first thought would be that, to use one of the cities or a combination, and just have them say, if we were to, pick a number, invest $3 million in something other than LAIF, what kind of return could we expect versus what we would get at LAIF, and see if it's even worth pursuing at all. First, I mean, that was just my thought. I'm not that familiar with the rates, other than I know LAIF is extremely low. And I know some of the things that we're doing, we're getting probably double what LAIF is paying right now with, not a whole lot of risk. And so I just, wonder if it's worth asking that question or taking a look at what the possibility would be.
I'd say it's definitely worth looking into. Just so you know, so like I said, we do have quite a bit of money in LAIF right now. We're actually not supposed to have any of that money.
Okay. I didn't know
MTC
that.
has been really nice, and they're kind of ignoring the fact that we have it, because they're supposed to hold our reserves and do their investment, but their investment actually tends to pay less than LAIF. So it's an argument we've had quite a bit, not me personally, more the Transit Finance Working Group members with MTC about, hey, could this be invested somewhere else? Because the return on it is very minimal. And actually, interesting story, 20 years ago, we didn't even get the interest on that money that we had in reserve at MTC. Our general manager, Vic Sid, made that change, petitioned them to make that change. So it's something we can definitely look into. But at some point, I'm going to have to give that money back. I've been avoiding it because of this parking garage project. And kind of with the help of former supervisor Haggerty, he helped kind of encourage on the back end that they let us just kind of go for a while. But normally, in a normal situation, we only have like maybe $1 million in LAIF, maybe two.
Yeah, that's probably not worth the time.
It wouldn't hurt to look into. I mean, it definitely wouldn't hurt. Maybe what we find out is something we can push towards MTC. Maybe at some point the legislation will change that we hold our own reserves. One never knows. So it wouldn't hurt to get educated on it at all. So that's something I can work on a little later, maybe in the fall, when we're done with our 2 audits that we have going on right now. I would love to meet with the cities and see what they think.
Okay. It was just something that struck me, with where it is an area where I think the cities have the ability to have the resources to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's in our interest to help LABDA wherever we can, I think.
Right. And LAIF is very low right now. Back in the day, it used to be 5-6%. Now it's 1% of 1%. So
Wow.
the return's not great. So yeah, it's definitely something it wouldn't hurt to get educated on.
Okay. So when you're ready, I mean, I'm sure our finance director would be happy to just have her staff or whoever her staff member is take a look at it, or, you know, I'm sure Livermore, Dublin too. It doesn't matter to me, just asking the question.
Yeah, the cities have always been very helpful when we've asked. So yeah, I'll definitely look into it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and just like Tamara said, it's $1 million isn't very much. I mean, it's not, but I think it's worth just to at least look at it, especially if one of the cities, you know, are willing to loan their person to just to do an analysis on it.
Well, we may find ourselves in a situation like this again, where we have a lot in LAAF because we have a special project.
Mhm.
It probably also wouldn't hurt for us to learn a little more about this, since we are technically the administering agency for the rail, because who knows what their situation will be. Although I don't plan on being their CFO forever. It wouldn't hurt to have that information to pass on to the next person.
Yeah, I didn't realize life was only at, I think, if I heard you right, 0.1%.
Oh, I think it's at, last I looked, I think it's at about 0.3%. Yeah, so it's not even a whole percent.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then at our next meeting in August, I should have that information for you in terms of our retirement and the funding there, and what we can look at, because that would also have a better return on investment. If we put some money into that retirement, their return's a lot higher. So that's another option for us.
And when you say retirement, you're speaking of a 115 trust?
Yes, sorry, the 115 trust.
Yeah.
We should have the actuarial in July. So I should be able to bring it to you at the committee meeting in August.
Okay, that'd be great. That's probably more important than looking at life versus, 30-day T-bills or something.
Right. Right. I
Okay.
think that's a great option. So, well, yeah, I'll be bringing that to you as soon as I can.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. Sorry, I just had to ask that question. I would just.
Yeah.
No,
Great question.
all right, thank you. And then we'll go ahead and get a roll call, please.
We still need a second, I
I
think.
seconded
Oh.
it.
No,
Oh, you
Kathy
did?
was
Okay.
the second. Yeah.
Okay, so Vice Chair Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes,
Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
passes unanimously.
So item number 7 is to approve the resolution 2121. Is that a
The
typo?
21st one of 2021.
Oh, okay. The 21st of 2021, accepting funds from the Alameda County Transportation Commission for Atlantis O&M Facility Bridging Documents Project.
Okay, that was mine. I'm sorry that my titles are always so difficult to get through. I'll keep working on that. So this item, it's another funding resolution. It's another month, another funding resolution. This one is more anticipatory in that we have not been awarded any of these funds yet from Alameda CTC, but I wanted to get this resolution to the board sooner rather than later in the event that we were, so as not to slow anything down in terms of getting any grant funded projects started. In terms of background, back in February, we applied to Alameda CTC for the funding sources that they administer, basically to create the next phase of design documents for the Atlantis Operations and Maintenance Facility. You may recall that Kimley Horn is currently working on the schematic design. So we requested funds to bring design to the next level of readiness to advertise, which is basically the 65% design completion that would be ready for a design build construction contract advertisement. Long story short, Alameda CTC was originally anticipating that they would program these funds in May or June, which is their typical timeline. They were waylaid by a couple of months by the announcement of MTC's Quick Strike program that got one of our other project priorities out and funded, which is great. It delayed their programming of the rest of the money though. So what we're hoping is they will announce the programming results within the next couple of weeks. I actually think we will know before the board meeting on July 12th whether, well, if you see this resolution in your packet, you'll know that we were probably recommended for funding. But in the meantime, this basically will tee us up to get things moving even over the summer, potentially over the summer recess, because the funds for the project were included in the FY22 agency budget, regardless of whether we get these grant funds or not. So the resolution pretty much just affirms that we accept Alameda CTC's terms and conditions and can enter into a funding agreement with them should we be awarded funding for the project. And the recommendation is that the committee refer resolution 2021 to the board for approval. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions?
Real quick, does this require a match from us? Do these funds require a match?
Yes, in the details are in the staff report. The local match that we included in our application was of 40%. The scoring criteria favored higher provisions of local match. And for this type of project, we felt it was in our interest to goose our scoring criteria somewhat with more local match. But as I mentioned at this time, all of the funding is included in the agency's budget, regardless of whether we receive the grant funds. So the grant funds would just be bonus at this point.
Okay. Well, I'll move to refer resolution 21-2021 to the board of directors for approval.
I'll second.
May we get a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes.
Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
passes unanimously.
So item number 8 is declaration of the surplus property in compliance with LAFTA policy for disposition of surplus property.
Yes, good afternoon. We currently have 2 vehicles that one is out of service due to engine failure, and the other is basically a vehicle that was used for surveying our bus stops. That we no longer need that vehicle for that purpose. And to replace the engine on the bus would be over $150,000, and that vehicle is actually due to be retired anyway next year. Both have actually long passed their useful life. So in accordance with the policy for disposition of surplus property, we would ask that the committee recommend to the board that these vehicles are declared surplus and we can dispose of them in accordance with our normal policy or procedures.
Great.
I'll move that we do that if there's no questions.
I have no questions.
I'll second.
I think
it.
they're long overdue. I think they need to go rest.
Yes, they do.
Kathy, did you second it?
I did.
Okay, I didn't hear you. All right,
Sorry.
we'll go ahead and get approval. You know, I just want to make sure we have no one from the public needs to.
No, there's nobody in the
Okay.
public.
I figured you would have reminded me.
I would have told you, yeah.
Okay.
I've been watching.
All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and ask for a roll call, please.
Sure. Vice Chair Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes.
Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
passes unanimously.
Then item number 9, preview of upcoming F&A committee agenda items.
Okay, we plan to cancel next month's committee meetings, which we really hope to do because they would coincide with our FTA triennial audit, which is going to be stressful enough. So unless something comes up, we could have some funding emergency, but hopefully not. And August, we've got the minutes, the treasurer's report, and then hopefully the actuary for the 115 plan so that we can have that discussion. And it's actually very easy to get that taken care of if we decide to go that route. So I'm hoping to bring that to you in August. September should just be the minutes and the treasurer's report. October is going to be a little busier. You'll have your minutes, your treasurer's report. They changed the name. The annual capital financial report should be done and presented in October. So our auditors will be here for that. And we should have the results of our FTA triennial review in October. The review turnaround, they usually give us 3 months to get it ready. And then they give the preparers they give us 3 months to get it ready, turned in, then like 3 months after that they come, and then they have like 3 months to do the review and do their report. This time it was 3 weeks to get everything together. A month later, they're coming and they have to have their report completed in September. So we should have it to you in October. And that is a complete review. It's not, finances is one out of 21 sections. So it should be quite interesting. And then November, minutes and treasurer's report more than likely. And November committee meetings may be canceled as well. I'm not sure where they hit with Thanksgiving. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions? No questions. Any matters initiated by the committee?
I have a question. I am going to be out of town for the September meeting, possibly able to call in. I don't know if we're going to be going live. So I wanted to put that out there, because of the quorum. Obviously, you guys would be fine. But
Yeah. I think honestly, as of right now, I don't mind, our meetings have been short for us, to go into the office. I'm fine with doing Zoom until we possibly, are being told that we cannot do them in Zoom. So if you guys are comfortable with them, I'm comfortable, otherwise Brittany's going to have to bring she's going to have to bring her
Especially-
kids out of the office.
Yeah, I mean, for these short meetings, the Zoom, as long as it's still legal with the Brown Act, that would be fantastic. We're probably gonna have to go back. Obviously, we will have to go back for our council ones, but for these little short committee meetings, Zoom would be great.
Yeah. And I know we've been back in the council since April, so we've been doing it already I think we're the only city in Alameda County that's been doing it, but we're having our meetings live. But I'm perfectly fine with having ours, because they are most of the time short, to have them on Zoom. So even if you're traveling, Kathy, you can join us.
what's that?
All right. The one item that I want to bring forward is, and it has something to do with a little bit of some funding. That's the only reason why I want to ask for it is, our bus drivers have done an amazing job during this entire pandemic. And even if it wasn't a pandemic, they always do an amazing job. I want to see, do we have money set aside to either do like a little luncheon for them or something just to say thank you?
We actually have something planned. We've been kind of punting it for a while because of the pandemic. We had a lunch for them. I believe it was Thanksgiving and Christmas, we did kind of a to-go bag. And then we did like a barbecue, but it was socially distanced. But we're getting our award, our Transit Agency of the Year award in November. And so hopefully social distancing and all that, because our drivers are not all vaccinated, that side of the building's not all vaccinated. We may have to compromise a little, but our plan was to do something big, October, November. We usually do a huge Thanksgiving thing. So we might do our award party in October just so that they don't coincide. But yeah, we have something planned for that. And then monthly, the MV management team does a barbecue where they bring in sandwiches or they do nachos, or Christian, the GM, makes soup, that kind of thing. So they do, not so much when they were having to do their meetings via Zoom, but now they're doing them in person again. So they're back to celebrating kind of every month. But yeah, we try to do stuff kind of a couple times a year at least, to let them know how much we appreciate them.
Okay, perfect. I think it would just be great just to even have some of the, if they wanted to have the board members come in and just, give a big thanks and a shout out to them. So.
Oh, for sure. We'll
Maybe you'll invite us to one of these parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the perks of the gig, right? We're supposed to get to go to barbecues and stuff.
And ours are.
Now that I hear that you're having them once a month, we didn't get the invitation.
You don't want to come to the monthly ones because that's Tony and I occasionally go to those meetings, and it's supposed to be a safety meeting and there's lunch involved, and they will suck the entire meeting up just trying to pick our brains on things. But our parties a couple times a year, you guys are always invited to. We just haven't had any.
No, understandable. I just think it would be great for the board to just, reach out and say thank you to them.
Yeah. And they would love to see that. They love it when Michael comes and sits down and starts talking to them, because they feel like we're a family, not LAFTA versus the contractor. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, okay, we have no more, matters initiated by the committee. Then we will go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 4:24.
Great.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.